Thank you, Dwayne. Oof. Come, come, whoever you are welcome here. Whatever your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. However you came here, if you came alone or with others, you are welcome here. However you love, or how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes, you are welcome here. If you come with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, then you are indeed welcome here. Hi, welcome, good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of New Orleans. For almost 200 years, this congregation has been a beacon of liberal and leftist faith, spiritual self-fulfillment, and commitment to making our community and our world a better place for all. I'm Tucker, hi. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. If you're a visitor, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can greet you. Hi, yay, welcome, welcome. Also, we want to make sure that everyone in attendance can hear the service in its entirety. So if you're unable to hear any of the speakers, please wave your hand or give us one of these, and we'll do our best to speak up. We are a lay-led congregation. On Sunday mornings, we ask UU ministers, other religious professionals, leaders from social justice organizations, and our own members to be voices of hope, courage, and spiritual or intellectual transformation from our pulpit. Our worship leader today is Mich González. Yay! Yes, yes, Mitch, thank you. Mitch, he, him, or they, them, is a transgender movement lawyer and abolitionist storyteller, originally from Miami, Florida, who has found a home and chosen family here in New Orleans, Louisiana. Mitch was raised by his single teen mom who overcame housing insecurity and poverty with the help of her LGBTQ immigrant community, eventually becoming a nurse battling the front lines of COVID-19. Mitch has spent over a decade learning from and struggling alongside immigrant organizers of the global majority to seek collective liberation from systemic violence and dehumanization. Mitch finds queer joy in dancing, making his partner Marilyn laugh, and being a dog dad to his two pups, Mochi and Miso. Welcome, Mitch. Thank you. So, please rise in body or spirit and join me in lighting the chalice of our heritage by reading the words that you will find in your order of service, and then you'll join in our sung response following. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather
to remember who we are,
what we're belong to,
and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name.
Please remain as you are for our opening hymn, which you'll find in the gray hymnal. It's number 354, We Laugh, We Cry, and we'll do verses 1 and 4.
Of all, we need close friends we can call our very own, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found our need to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human life. We search for truth, for quality, and blessed peace of love. And then we come together to midst of what we find, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found our joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we will finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. Gabe, would you like to come up for our story for all ages? Thanks.
All right, can everybody hear me? Yes. Good. Was it me? All right, I would love to invite all of those who are young and young at heart to come listen to this story today. Yes, one volunteer, here we go, 2 volunteers, amazing. Yes, yeah, party up here.
I love stories.
Yes.
I have to sit here.
I completely understand. Yeah, all right. Okay, so today we are reading The Water Protectors by Carol Lindstrom. This is one of my favorite books. It's very, very beautiful. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body as it nourishes us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land. Do you see the snake? Yeah, it's hiding, isn't it? It's a little nefarious. Spoil the water, poison the plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together. To stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums and our songs. We are still here. It will not be easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, the winged ones, the crawling ones. The four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, rivers, trees, and lakes. The earth. We are all related. Tears like waterfalls stream down, track down my face, track down my people's face. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she says. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. Can all of you say that? We stand. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. The end.
Thank you, Gabe. The time for all ages is one of the best parts of the service, in my opinion. Just, so good. Thank you. So, y'all, for our meditation today, I want to share a poem that has become very special to me very recently. I'm in the final weekend of a 6-month-long program called the Ann Braden Program. It's designed to support white organizers in becoming more accountable, principled, anti-racist change makers. It's honestly been incredibly transformative. And yesterday, in our second to last session, one of the facilitators shared a poem called The First Week by Laura Eberly, who is actually an Ann Braden Program alum. In hearing it yesterday, I kept thinking about Mitch's sermon. For the meditation today, I'll share this piece, and then we'll enter into a time of silence, which will close by singing together the words in your order of worship, the song called Voice Still and Small. Feel free to close your eyes as you listen if you'd like, get comfortable. Thanks. The First Week by Laura Eberly. If we all agreed to, on Monday, we could plant a pollinator garden on every corner and turn over 1 parking spot per block to vegetables and fruit. But first, on Sunday, we should assemble all the healers, all the yogis, chiropractors, sangomas, and sage smudgers to ask them to have coffee with the matriarchs, the refugees, the trans sex workers, and the small town queers, and anybody who has yelled at a marble building through a bullhorn or raised a child in times of war. And by lunchtime, all of us would learn to locate, heal, and fortify our spines. That evening, the musicians would find our diaphragms and teach us new songs to sing while planting. On Tuesday, after the gardens, we would repair every roof install rain barrels and solar panels, retrieve the lost balls and frisbees and kites, and remember we are a tiny beneath the sky. On Wednesday, we'd fix the heaters so the gas could never be cut off, and install a tiny lead filter in every faucet. By Thursday, we would know each other's names and begin to tell our stories. Then, the farmers and the roofers and the plumbers would be honored by the lawyers and the doctors who had spent their first week ever listening. Next, venerations and reparations by the bankers and professors who will learn that education isn't learning, and money isn't value, and nothing is the feel of soil in your hands or throwing back your head to sing. We will ache for love and owning nothing, and for the first time, that will make us unafraid. By Friday, we will be too busy healing, tending, and childbearing for waging war. So the soldiers will have no orders. The police will have quiet radios and no calls. So we will tear apart the prisons and send the guards to rehab, where first graders and nursery workers will teach them slowly to trust humanity again, beginning with their own. We will use the bricks and fences to build community centers with wide porches where the grannies can knit and keep watch instead. Saturday would be for rest. Hammocks, creeks, and lemonade. We would listen to the earth and the spirits and our ancestors and our lovers and our beloveds and the bullfrogs and the songbirds and the tall grass and the redwoods and the oak trees, breathing. For one day, every week, breathing. And by next Sunday, we would know who else we need.
I'm going to read a passage to you. When I was asked to come speak, First of all, I'm Mich González. And I thought to myself, sure, I've never been to a Unitarian Universalist church. Turns out that's not true. I was actually baptized in a Unitarian church. I found out from my mother this morning. That's right. I was baptized in a church like this in Miami, Florida, because my mom was raised Catholic, but she was raising me with the love and chaotic support of a group of chosen family members, including her gay best friend, who's still with us to this day, thank goodness, living with HIV, her bisexual mother, and her mother's longtime butch lesbian lover. And they were actually my godparents. So unfortunately for everyone, I think I was destined to become queer, trans, force for chaotic good. Much like I had forgotten about a church like this, I had also forgotten that I'd been here before, actually, because another one of my chosen family members, Jordanis, who's here with us, this was actually the home next door, was actually his first home in New Orleans, after he spent 14 days in the ocean, migrating here from Cuba, and 2 months inside of a detention center in Louisiana, which is where I met him. And I don't think that's a coincidence. My grandmother and my godmother are no longer with us, and ever since they've been gone, they're constantly putting gifts and people in my path. So I chose this passage. It's in the slip of paper in your program, because this is the first book I can remember my grandmother giving to me, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, a Lebanese poet. And this is a passage from that book that I had also forgotten. So I'm going to read it to you, and I would ask you to, if you can and if you want to, read aloud the parts in italics. On self-knowledge. And a man said, "Speak to us of self-knowledge." And he, the prophet, answered, saying, "Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights. But your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. You would know in words that which you have always known in thought. You would touch with your fingers the naked body of your dreams, and it is well that you should. The hidden wellspring of your soul must needs rise and run murmuring to the sea. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure, and seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line. Say not, I have found the truth, but rather, I have found a truth. Say not, I have found the path of the soul. Say rather, for the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've been crying since I got up this morning. I wanted to talk about chosen family because as a generationally queer person, it's the thing I know to survive. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I feel like on some level, we're all learning how to survive again and again and again. The thing I spend most of my time doing is receiving calls for help from people that are inside of cages, cages made for immigrants, cages made for the othered, and I find it difficult sometimes to not feel like I'm in a cage of my own making. And it made me realize recently that I am, and that we all are. We didn't create the blueprints for these cages. They're imposed on us from the moment that we come into existence in modern society. I was really moved by the story that was shared about the water protectors. Because what I think we need to get through this time that feels like it's the worst time. Every day we get more information with brains that were never meant to consume this much information about children starving, using our tax dollars, about the fact that right now the mass of man-made materials for the first time ever has outweighed the mass of all natural life on planet Earth. That's a fact. I'm sorry to have shared it with you. I regretted learning it the second I read it. But it really is the state of the world we're in right now. And not looking at it won't change that. Pretending it's not true won't change that. And it's easy to fall into despair. It's easy to say, well, there's nothing I can do about that terrible fact I've just learned. And clearly this is a foregone conclusion. The apocalypse, right? I'm sure everybody feels that way. This is the end times. When you keep consuming all that information. And you might also start to believe that humanity has brought it upon itself, that there's something inherently wrong with us, that we are some sort of virus, a blight upon the earth. How else could it be that the animals are less and less, that the ocean is full of plastic and poison, that we have forgotten to love one another even within our own species? But it's just not true. And I know it's not true because of who we really are. The reality is humanity is its own salvation. Humanity is just as divine and beautiful and naturally compassionate as the oak trees in City Park. Those oak trees, some of them, does anyone know how old the oldest oak tree is estimated to be in City Park? You can raise your hand if you like that person in class. Go ahead. That's right. She said 800 years. Actually, some estimate as old as 900 years old. So you might think to yourself, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. But that tree in New Orleans has been there for 900 years, and she's going to keep being there. And not only that, contrary to what scientists had us believe for so long, those trees that have populated that land upon which indigenous peoples lived and traded and loved in community with the earth for 1,300 years prior to colonization, that tree spent most of its life witnessing that. It spent about 600 years witnessing generations of that. And it has not forgotten. And that tree is connected to all the other trees, all the other oak trees in City Park, underneath the ground. They're connected by mycelium. And science is just now catching up with what those indigenous people of Bulbancha knew instinctively and knew from their own spirituality, which is that they are alive and they communicate with each other. They provide to one another. They warn each other of disease. They give each other nutrients. When a tree finds itself at the end of its life, it starts delivering the last of its nutrients to its family members through the fungal network under the ground. They talk to each other, like using the internet. I'm not kidding. Don't believe me, I'm not a scientist. I've learned this information, that science is just now catching up with what First Peoples, and I say First Peoples from all over the land, not just from the global south and the global majority cultures that have maintained this knowledge that we are not, land does not belong to us. We belong to it. We are a part of it. I know that we are not a blight upon the earth because the air, the gas that I produced by breathing is taken in by that tree. And in return, that tree gives me oxygen. We were created with and for and together and alongside those trees. So how could we be poison? We are not. We are not poison. The people that are poisoning everything have lost touch with who they really are. They have lost touch with their souls. And I know this because they want us to believe. They'll say it. I'm talking about people like Elon Musk. I'm talking about people like the president. They will say that compassion is our greatest downfall. They will say that human beings are naturally greedy. Ted Cruz has said this. Human beings, they are in competition with each other, like those trees allegedly were. But I've seen people in the darkest hours of their lives. I've seen what they do when there's every reason for them to act in self-interest. And that's not what they do. I'll tell you a story. I was in one of these terrible cages I talked about, and in case you weren't aware, there are now 9 detention centers across Louisiana and Mississippi, filled with human beings. And I was in one where my trans sister is still being held right now, in Basile, Louisiana. And when I go in there, it's usually to give like a Know Your Rights presentation to people who have been desperate for someone from the outside world to come in and acknowledge their humanity and offer them help, or to get the word out about what's happening. And when I got in there, these women were surrounding me, and I thought, oh, it's starting. They're gonna all be asking for individual case help, and I'm gonna have to explain I wanna give Know Your Rights information. And so these women come up to me, and they're all speaking Spanish. They're from various countries in Latin America, and they tell me, before you begin, please, this is extremely important. And they bring out this tiny little grandmother from Afghanistan, and they tell me this woman was separated from her children, her adult children, and her grandchildren. And we don't know how to talk to her, but we know she's very sick. We know she's very sad. Please, we know there's an Afghanistan young woman in a different dorm. We want you to talk to this one guard. This one guard treats us like people. We know that if you ask her to bring down that young woman from the other dorm to the presentation, maybe you can have her come and move dorms so that we can better help her, so that she can interpret for us. Mind you, they only have about an hour and a half with me. They have been in there, some of them 9 months, a year, mothers separated from their children. So I do as they say. I immediately go to get the guard. The guard goes, she says, absolutely. She brings down the young woman. The young woman comes, speaks to the old woman. So there's this grandmother and this young woman from Afghanistan who've never met each other, and they're having a conversation. All the Latina moms are here in the corner waiting to find out what has been negotiated. The young woman comes back, and she says to all of us in English, as I interpret to the women in Spanish, thank you for caring for my paisana, my fellow family, basically. I understand how much you've grown to care about her, but I too have developed familial bonds with the women in my dorm. So if it's okay with you, as it's all right by her, I want to bring her to my dorm, and I will continue helping her, and I promise I'll take good care of her. Everybody was in tears. The women didn't want to say goodbye to her, but of course they completely conceded. They hugged her in words neither understood. They bid farewell, and she was taken to the other dorm. And that's how I know that at our hearts we are light. That at our hearts we are like the thousands of babies whose feet and hands have been touched by those oak trees in New Orleans that have held them. Because if you've ever spent any time with a baby, okay, you see that its nature is of joy, it's of compassion. If you're sad, it's sad. If you cry, that baby cries. And yes, they need a lot, okay? They do. They're needy, they're a pain, they're exhausting. But you know, haven't you noticed the very thing that a baby needs and wants all the time, that brings it peace, that lulls it to sleep, is your love and your affection and your compassion? It's not stuff. It's not the accumulation of stuff that calms a child that is in distress. They want us to believe that we are a burden to one another. For years,
I felt myself pulling a little bit further away from the woman who brought me into this world, who taught me compassion. Because they taught me that caring for your own is a burden. They taught me to focus out here, running towards a thing called a career, running towards whatever it is that was gonna get me to be somebody somewhere, away from the very people who brought me here. And thank goodness that my ancestors have brought us all here together again. I cannot tell you how much of my chosen family every day proved to me that we are miracles. My mother almost died this year, and now she's here. And she sounds like she did 20 years ago. It's a miracle. My being here in New Orleans brought me so many beautiful people, like Jordanis, who I met inside of a prison and who lived upstairs in the house next door to this church. I have so many more stories I could tell you. But the point is, you have to remember who you are, because I promise there are bits and pieces that you have forgotten, because they want you to forget. They want us to be separated. When I say chosen family, I'm not just talking about your friends that you pick up along the way. I'm talking about even the people that you're being told it's your responsibility. We owe it to each other, right? These are the only people you should care about, are your blood relatives. Even in doing that, in putting that idea of family upon us, they're the ones that create that sense that it is a burden, that we don't have a choice in our family. But it's just not true. Make that choice. Make the choice every single day, whoever it is in your life that you consider family, that you consider community. Make that choice every day to love them deeply, starting with yourself. Starting with yourself. It took me so long. I did not even love myself enough to be who I am, to transition and be who I am until after my first psilocybin trip when I was 30 years old. That's the kind of indigenous medicine that was required for me to stop imprisoning myself and beating myself up so severely in here. And it's not over. There are so many layers to peel back of the lies that you've consumed about who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are, and give even more, as much as you can, love to yourself and everyone around you. We don't have boundless energy. We don't have limitless bodies. It's true. But we do have boundless love and compassion, and we have to start by showing it to ourselves, forgiving ourselves, being less judgmental of ourselves, because I promise you, the people that are out here hurting people, caging people, starving people, they are not well. They have lost touch with their souls, and they are not loving themselves. They are only capable. People who judge and who hurt and who harm are only capable of doing that because of the severe and horrific harm that they are doing to themselves. Every time you hurt someone else, you hurt yourself twice as deep, I promise. And it's a wound that is 3 times as hard to heal from, because you're severing yourself from your very soul. I just want to say one last thing. The same way that I was talking to you about those trees, the reality is there are people already awake at this degree, and they're waking up more and more every day. Yes, it's true, the apocalypse is here. But you know what? That word comes from a Greek word, which means to reveal. To reveal. And that is what is happening right now. And if you believe in astrology, okay, this is the beginning of a 20-year period known as the Age of Aquarius. I don't know if you remember that, dawning of the age of... They were talking about right now. Yeah, that song was in the 60s, but they were talking about right here, right now. And the beginning is always painful. Think about your beginning, okay? Is there something more painful than childbirth? No. No, ask any mother, okay? The beginning is painful, but my God, I wouldn't take it back for the world. Every moment I have with those people, I wouldn't take it back for the world. So these next 20 years, hold on tight. and be a part of that revelation of who we really are, because the whales are still here. That oldest tree is still here. There's still birds outside, and that is a miracle. With how things have been going for so long, so fast, that is a miracle. And now's not the time to give up. Now is the time to get free together.
Oh my gosh. What do you even say? I mean, come on. Mitch, thank you so much. Can we get one more round of applause for our incredible worship leader today? Thank you. Thank you. Oof. All right. As you use, generosity is one of our shared values. We agree in this space to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We understand that generosity is a spiritual discipline that connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. One way we practice that is an act of giving to this community by placing your offering in the collection plate or by using information in your order of service to give electronically. And afterward, we'll talk about more ways to be a part of this community. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. Wow. Gifts to this community of faith are gratefully received. Let us acknowledge these gifts by reading together the words in your order of service. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. Thank you. So giving in the offering plate and pledging are one part of how we steward this congregation. There are countless other ways to serve, build community, and share our love with the rest of the city. There's a few opportunities that are currently in the digest, which I'm going to pull up in a second, but Ms. Ann, would you like to start us off with our spotlight announcement?
I hope you read it in the digest and are already thinking about it, but I wanted to emphasize that our former member Janet Spencer is renewing a play that she wrote based on the writings of another former member, Mary Gaiman, about Katrina, the aftermath of Katrina, with three people. Mary, who is an elderly woman even then, spent 3 days on the Broad Street overpass and wrote about it. And Janet turned that into a beautiful spoken word play, which they performed throughout the country. And she wants to bring it back here for the 20th anniversary. And Hunter McHugh has helped her with casting, but he's moving to Austin. I've helped with reserving a date and stuff like that, but I'm going to be out of town. So we really need somebody on the ground who can help her negotiate issues with the church. Are we going to charge? Who's going to get the money? Do we want refreshments? All that kind of stuff. And she really, really needs someone to be her feet on the ground and head on the ground in liaison with the church. So if you're willing to do that or to think about it, talk to me after the service and I'll give you Janet's contact information. This is something she really needs a little bit of support in. We're going to have it here in our chapel on the weekend after the anniversary. So please let me know if that's something you could possibly help with. Thank you.
Thanks, Miss Ann. The last couple announcements I want to uplift are that there's a few more spots open on the meal train for our beloved friend Melissa Gamble. If you have questions about it, come talk to me. Another one is that the Unitarian Universalist Association has joined the Faithful Majority for Reproductive Freedom. It's a coalition of faithful folks coming together to support abortion access. You can learn more about it in the digest or come talk to one of us. There's so many people who are very excited about this, this new thing. And I think that's most of it in this moment. The last thing I'll just uplift is that the New Orleans Community Resource Guide for Resistance and Renewal has just come out. If you're looking for a copy of it, let us know. We'll send it your way. Okay, thank you. So please stand in body or spirit and join in our chalice extinguishing, which is in your order of worship. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we
Carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Right. And please remain as you are, comfortable for our closing hymn found in the teal hymnal. That's this guy, number 1017, Building a New Way.
Every day we are building
Thank you all so much. This church is a place in our hearts and a way that we live our lives. Wherever and however we gather, we bring and share the spirit of love and life. Let us invite that spirit now to fill us as we enter in our communities this week. At its founding, our church was known as the Strangers Church. Please turn and greet your neighbors and join us for coffee hour just outside the back doors to your left. Thank you.